See, when I went from this to this, I found out how important these animations are. It can make or break the experience big time. Hey there, and welcome to the 14th devlog for Neon Revolution, a 3D parkour platformer video game where you transform a world without color and lights into a disco celebration. In this video, I'm going to go over the animations that I've been working on in my game, and as a bonus, I will also go explain how I made a guide arrow work in-game as well. Before I go on, I'm Caleb, developer of 4 different itch.io games and also the one-man team behind the Odyssey Frontiers studio. Let's get right into the video. Animation is something that I've been neglecting for a while in my journey of developing Neon Revolution. I guess it's been because I never learned how to do character animations, but I have to learn sometime, right? Well, I did it recently with my indie game. It sure sounded like some big monumental task that would take me hours and hours to complete, but honestly, it wasn't too bad to learn to make these animations in Unity, which is the game engine that I use. So since it is a first-person game, animations are not super complex for the player, considering all that you see is the character's arms and not really much else. Previously, all you saw in the player was just walking with stiff blocks as arms, which is not very entertaining or realistic. To make the player more interesting, I added 3 animations: the idle, the walking, and the running. Why 3? Well, to preserve my sanity. There are other abilities that the player has, like wall running, climbing, jumping, dashing, and more, but all of those can use the running or idle animations. How do they use the idle one? It kind of works well as an air animation. See, this is what that looks like. And then outside of the idle animation, there is the walking one that looks like this. And then there's the run animation. Wait, what's that? You don't see much of a difference between walking and running animations? Well, that's because it's just walking, but sped up. Surprise! I know, how intuitive and unique. There is another aspect of the animations I almost forgot to mention: how I implemented them to work when they need to. This involves some scripting. In the animator, I can set variables for that animator that, when they reach a certain amount, trigger the new animation. For example, I have a speed variable that is 0 when the player isn't moving, and then when walking, the speed raises to something like 8, and running brings it to 12. What I can do is then say to the animator to transition from idle to walking when the speed goes above 0, and vice versa. I can also do the same thing for if the speed goes above 8 and switch to the running animation. It's really not too bad, most of the time. Yeah. Now for the bonus section. I wanted to talk about my new guide arrow that I made also. If you've seen gameplay from my previous videos or downloaded the free demo to my game linked in the description, you might have seen this big ugly green arrow in the middle of the bottom of the screen. If you couldn't tell by how I just described it, I wasn't a fan of how it looked. What do you do if you don't like something? You take it out. No, you change it. Which is what I did here. I moved the arrow from here to here and gave it a bit of a makeover. It is now less distracting from the main gameplay because it's smaller and more out of the way, but it's still there for you to use. I also added emissive edges, just meaning they glow, so it's easier to see in the darker nighttime stages and stuff. I also changed around where it points, so rather than pointing to every little milestone you need to finish the level, such as reaching the end of every single building, it then instead points to the major points that you need to reach to finish. More like a halfway point, and the end point, and maybe someplace where it changes from horizontal to vertical progression. This gives more freedom to explore the levels. And as for how I made it, that is a secret. Ooh. Meaning, I may explain it later. We'll see. Now, some of you may be saying to yourselves, Caleb, didn't you say you were going to do the audio in the game? Well, stop asking. I mean, I'm still working on fixing bugs in the game first. See, I have this big fancy to-do list with a lot checked off, but also a lot of things to do yet. Thankfully, a lot of those yet to do are audio stuff, so I'll be able to get to that very shortly here. But that's going to be explained in a new devlog at some point. Well, I hope you got something out of this video today. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you would like the video and possibly subscribe. Please put any comments or questions you have in the comment section below. In the meantime, if you want to learn more about baking lights in video games and how I did that recently in mine, I have just the video for you right here. Also, if you are struggling with not finishing or progressing in your game development journey because you are noticing every small little detail, I have a video about perfectionism and how to manage that right here. Thanks for watching.